calling the Fire and Police Committee meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Jana Barnett,
Here.
Fred Levering,
Here.
Steve Brenner,
Here.
Kristen Gajewski. Here.
And Adam, we weren't sure if he was coming or not.
There's no public, but is there public comment? All right. Western Berks Ambulance, Tony's not here.
No, he didn't even.
Didn't see the report. Okay. Well, if he comes, we can circle back. Oh,
Okay. Excuse me. First, I'd like to present Jen and Kristen with their certificates for
Oh.
attendance there at the.
Bring this up with all my others. Can't wait.
Oh, there weren't a lot to hand out, and I must say, you two were there. And there was one other person in our agency. There was one from Spring Township. So I'm glad you were there.
Yeah, it was helpful.
Yeah, good. And yeah, I don't know. There weren't, I kind of looked at the roster and I don't know, others just don't come. So glad you were there.
Yeah, it was good.
It's helpful for understanding what's going on. And if you have any other questions about anything you went, oh, what's that about or whatever, just get a hold of me and I'll be glad to tell you. Excuse me. Other than that, just general information first. The operations plan I have gotten back and I would like to give it out at the agency meeting, which is like a week and a half from today. Should have the final version, and in there or on there, I'll have some samples of how we do the resolution, which I guess you guys will type up. And then it gets, goes through council and all business, and then it becomes official. So the old papers I will take out and the new ones we'll put in after everybody stamps okay. So that'll be coming up in the next few weeks, and that'll probably end up being at the next council meeting, I would assume. It won't make this one. Regular training sessions have been attended, and currently the next one is in March, the one we just had. Had some information in about the Agency for the Aging, which gave us a few good pointers. I'm not sure how much EMA, emergency management stuff, was really worthwhile there, but they did have some pointers of where some people could go. And I've had, there's always lots of contacts to be made there, can be made there through that agency with people that need some assistance that we really all can't just turn around and give to them necessarily, but that agency has ways of doing that. The callback system, the code red, we're slowly recovering there. And today, we're actually going to reinstall it here, believe it or not. And it is, I'm going to call it, it's not an experiment, but we're doing it here first. Only because I felt I had better connections with people here to start with. And hopefully it'll go smoothly. I think it will. I've been in contact with them. I will tell you that I've also spoken to two other organizations that have a similar kind of thing, which I'd like to present at the agency meeting and tell them what I found. We'll see how ours goes here with Code Red, and maybe by that time we can, look at it a little closer. The agency can say, thumbs up or thumbs down or something. So that's going to kind of come down in the next couple of weeks here. But hopefully what we put in place today will make a big difference for notifications.
Do we have to
Well, you should. Yes, you should do that. Some of your names may already be in there. I didn't look up like everybody's in here specifically, but I could, but I can't, there's a list of, I don't know exactly how many just from Wyomissing, but we had a list of, like, in the whole agency, the region, was 7,000, and it's got to be at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 times that number that should be in there. And without, the phone book anymore, if that's the right way to put it, everybody with all their different numbers and cell phones and people from, anywhere, California and beyond, could have a number, and it won't be someplace that we have like immediate access to. And they have to put it in for them to get the calls or notices. So the emphasis should be on everybody kind of redesigning, not redesigning, but re-entering their
So
information.
what do you suggest? If I still have a landline, and that's where we get those calls. But if I have a cell phone, do you want my cell phone in there as
Yes,
well?
yes, I would. You can actually, I guess, have as many phones as you want, and you can put in there what you want to receive. You can put in there you just want a phone call. You can put in there that you want phone, text, email, that kind of thing, which is what a lot of people do. That way you're more sure of getting it. And then if you are, let's say, out of town and you just had your landline in there and it said you should either shelter in place or get out of your house or something, really extreme there, obviously, but or that there was something else going on that you should know about from your neighborhood, even if it's something like boiled water or something that if you were out visiting somewhere for the weekend or away you wouldn't know about, your cell phone would get it. So that's why I would certainly suggest putting your cell phone in there.
How are we gonna let our residents know this?
Well, we're going to do that today again. We have a plan here that we've looked at that involved, I have my copy in this other folder. Yeah, we had gone over this before and then we kind of held off. Right now, we are going to, for Wyomissing, put in online a sheet that shows them how to sign up, explains a little bit about it, how to register or sign up. And you can do it on your computer or you can do it just on your phone. There's a way to just text in and do the same thing. And we did have the number changed. I don't know if you remember the number that was on there before that was going to show up in your phone said Egypt. And I really raised Cain about that. I said, I can't have Egypt showing up on people's phone around here. I said, they'll be pushing spam and get me out of there before you know what happened. It was actually Egypt, Washington State. And I said, no, can't we change that? Or you got to change it. I said, that's not acceptable. I said, there's too many people that'll throw that out before they even hear what's going on. So they changed it, and it will now be the office number for where my office is, and it'll probably come up initially Spring Township. But then if you see that, you can mark it as like a favorite and change it to code red, and you'll be fine.
Go to our website.
No, it's not on there yet. Okay.
Well, that's why it doesn't do it then.
We're doing it after this meeting.
That's what you're doing after the meeting.
We're next.
All right.
So after that, you can try it tonight. I guess, I don't know, Melissa, what do you think? We can get it in today, or what do you think?
Probably not today, probably tomorrow.
Okay, then wait a couple of days.
Got it.
Okay. The other thing, 2 other things here I had, we actually, I guess because the winter was so severe, we actually attended an ice jam class that they thought could happen along. Yeah, I know. I'm laughing too, but,
On the creek?
well, not our creek, but Topahakan and the Schuylkill. But I don't think it happened. I think it warmed up enough, or slowly enough, that
I drove by it today. There's no ice on it.
that's good. I do remember the Susquehanna's had some bad times with that, though, over the years. And anyway, that was a little bit new and unusual there. And we did have recently, or in February, we had a class put on by Norfolk Southern again by some of their staff for some local interest, I'll just call it, in case kind of thing. And they've been very good to us about that. I also have received from them, I requested the latest or newest commodity list that flows through our area for what kind of things are on these railroad cars. And they told me I can certainly show that to any elected official, but that they can come up to the office and look at it if they want to. I'm not supposed to spread that around, obviously. But if anyone is interested in seeing what kinds of stuff goes through here, it's probably almost anything that you can think of that you wouldn't want to have spilled in your backyard, that's for sure. But if you are, I have gotten that, and they've been good to me about showing me that kind of stuff. The other thing that's on the agenda, other than my report here, is I need a person from Wyomissing for the agency. So I don't know if we're prepared today to pick someone, or we need to vote on, I guess, that to make it official, so that I have a representative from Wyomissing for that.
Tom, would you explain the responsibilities, how often people would go to
Yes,
meetings?
sure. We meet once a quarter. This year it'll be, if I had the dates right here.
March 16th is the first one, because I have it on my calendar.
Today's the 8th. Oh, is that the date, the 16th? That doesn't sound right.
I put it on my calendar after.
Should be Wednesday, I thought it was the 18th. Maybe it is the 6th. Is it?
You're correct, sorry, it's the 18th
Right.
at 8.
All right. The 18th will be the one that's coming up now, and then it's,
You said 8 a.m.?
8 a.m., correct.
we meet quarterly at Spring Township's Administration Building. And there we go over an agenda of things that are appropriate, I guess, to the agency. And we review, the finance, we get a treasurer's report, we get my report. There are normally probably about as many public comments as we have here. But, we've had people come in and ask some questions sometimes. Which is fine, and the meeting generally is fairly quick and routine. If that is possible without anything major going on, that's what happens. So, I don't know, does that give you enough info there, Jenna?
Yeah.
Okay, so I need someone. We have, Spring did appoint someone because their other person did not run again either, and he was on the agency, so they have made a replacement choice there, and we have one from West Reading and one from Sinking Spring currently, so we just need Wyomissing.
Did Bill represent us before?
I'm sorry?
Did Bill represent us before? Bill Jenks?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, Bill Jenks did, yes, he was the past representative. It can be anyone who you choose, though.
Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to be on that committee? I know you're out, probably Kristen, because of 8 o'clock.
It's not ideal, the middle of the month would be easier for me. I could do it if need be.
Let me see whether I'm available. So you're going to quarterly meetings, but what are the other responsibilities? Anything other than just being?
No, other than like you could bring back, I come down here, you have me give my little kind of a I kind of give a monthly kind of update anyway here, but the others in the agency, no one else has asked me to attend their other emergency committee meetings, but they could. No, other than that, I'd say there aren't any, the agency, formation of the agency was, I give you the, the write-up of how it was formed and what I'll call them the bylaws are, kind of thing. There's nothing really fancy there.
How long do the meetings last?
Well, 15, 20 minutes usually. You've been there already, right? Weren't you at some of them, Janet? No?
I went to the firehouse meetings.
Oh, that
in the
one, no,
evening,
this is
But not
the
in the,
regular
not
agency
been in the morning.
It's generally pretty short. I would count on maybe a half hour, but that's,
Stretching.
there'd have to be something really, well, Michelle's been at them, so she knows. Wouldn't you say?
I think the two that I was at were between 15 and 20 minutes.
I mean, I could do this file.
Unless there's anything like crazy that goes on. Usually, hopefully there isn't.
I could do it. I can't say that I have a burning desire to do it, but I'm happy to. Steve,
I'll do it.
okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So we just need to make a motion to count.
Steve, are you gonna attend the one on the 18th, or do you want me to attend that one?
As of right now, I can make it.
Okay. I'll keep it on my calendar just in
Back
case.
in my calendar.
I don't hear.
It's not official yet.
We do have backups for each one. We
It
have
actually
a,
gets me out of an 8:30.
well, we do have backups, and Michelle has attended here for us here at Wyomissing, and others have occasionally attended as backups, but for the most part, everybody can
All right.
make it.
Then I will make a motion recommending that council appoint Steve as the borough's representative for the EMA board.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thanks.
Sure.
Tom, is there anything else you'd like to discuss with
That's
us?
all. Unless you have any questions.
Rick mentioned to me that we might start discussions about the 4th of July parade. He said I should touch base with you and Chief Phillips about that.
Well,
I don't know.
Chief Phillips has been kind of the
I'm
spearhead there.
waiting to see if we get a fire chief, because they need to be involved.
Okay,
So I was going to try to wait till April to do something.
that is,
Hoping by then we have
yeah,
someone in place.
okay, all right. He mentioned it to me, so I'm gonna mention it before I forgot.
Oh, it's a good point. We
Time flies.
I thought, just as my own comments, but the chief I thought they did a very good job of organizing everything, and
You made a lot of improvements last year.
it seemed to go well. And, we're fortunate. It's one of those things that we were really not looking forward to doing, but has become much more, I think, necessary considering the large number of people we have that attend and things that are going on in the world today. I think it's just unfortunate that it's one of those things, but we had a good group of people that were here, and I thought it was handled pretty well. I don't know. It's the first time we ever.
Next two, this year and in 27, are, pardon me, are a little bit special, or whatever you want to call it. This being the 250th anniversary of the nation, and 27 is the 275th anniversary of the founding of Berks County. I'm involved with a committee that the commissioners asked me to be on to do with the 275th, and we're doing that kind of in conjunction with the 250th. But in both instances, they have particularly focused on our 4th of July parade as a kind of a focal point in the whole thing. So it might be even bigger.
Good. Maybe they'll give us $500,000 with the fire company.
I wouldn't count on that, but
Always ask. If you want to come to our parade, here's what we need. No, I just wanted to mention it. That's I didn't know what the timeline was.
Oh, that's right.
I said to Randy, I'd like the fire chief to be
Oh, yeah,
Place
makes
and-
sense, absolutely.
look at April to try to, hopefully that would be done by, and we can start meeting.
Oh.
Be done by then. Best case scenario, I would expect that person to be on board middle to end of May.
Would we know then what captain squad would be working on that day? I may get them involved.
Yeah.
Let me know that. 'Cause I figured April, May, June would be our 3 months to meet.
I don't know who's what shift that is, but maybe one of the captains is more tuned into some of the emergency management stuff. I don't know if they are or not, but
Well, we did, if you remember, we had an after action last time.
Yeah.
And I have that all typed up, and
Yeah.
that's kind of what I want to make part of the first meeting, is reviewing that. What went well, what didn't, what we need to look at, anything like the mayor's talking about, what's new to this one that we have to account for, things like that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Tom.
you're welcome.
Police Department. First item of discussion was the Lawndale traffic study. I believe where we are is that having requested and obtained a traffic study, it's a good idea to implement the experts' recommendations.
So after last month's meeting and some of the concerns I specifically heard about Valley, I contacted Marvin, the individual that completed this study. And I asked him about with the school and the playground, if he took that into consideration, and he said he had not. So we have an updated version of this. I don't know if you've all seen it, but on page 14 now of the updated, there's kind of a blurb that basically he puts in there talking about how he's talking with where the Edgedale and Daleview, how it comes off the school, how that he wants to make those four-way stop signs now.
Okay.
That if it would fall into that type of thing with the school, that it could stay the same. So when you look at the where it says note that per the end, if you continue to read through there, it talks about that it can stay how it is basically. So it's Valley's a three-way stop as it is now. So because of the school, they do dismiss, I did confirm that with the principal at the elementary school. So they dismiss kids from back there. So because of that, we should be able to keep that the same. But as far as the Lawndale stuff goes, that's what he's recommending. There are going to be additional ones, but it's off of Daleview and Edgedale. So there's nothing that's going to be Vista or Wingard or anything.
In putting those extra stop signs there, are we able to repaint crosswalk signs and put up like the yellow pedestrian crossing signs so people?
I think we could,
What's that?
of course, we can do that if the council so chooses to do that. I mean,
Okay.
We just want to make sure that that's not something that PennDOT gets involved in.
they don't get really involved with the crosswalk so much, especially on roads, private roads like this. So if we wanted to do flashing lights or something like that, we'd have to pull permits.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we need to be that far, but if we can repaint some of those crosswalk lines, which are just incredibly faded.
That's a Jim Bab request.
Yeah, okay.
Takes care of the line painting stuff. But you want to talk about the conversation we had with?
I'm thinking that's executive session. Bam.
Yes.
Should we go into executive session now?
That would make no sense.
All right, we had an executive session to discuss potential litigation. Should we open the door?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anything else people would like to discuss regarding the Lawndale traffic study?
Is, at what point do we look, like Steve said, like actually implementing this and the cost to like do all of this? Or I mean, we just have to do it.
We have to do it. I don't think we have any
We don't have to.
choice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do
I
you?
mean, we should certainly quantify it so we know, but
Mhm.
I don't think we can say we're not going to.
Did you want me to move forward with trying to set up a town hall, or do you want to wait on that until we have a definitive plan?
I would not set up a town hall until we're advertising an ordinance. And at that point, we have something specific to discuss with
Got it.
people.
Okay.
It doesn't, I'm not saying
Mhm.
you shouldn't
Yeah, no, I talked
figure out
to
what we
him
need and
because
things
I
like
wanted to
that.
make sure we have it set up in
Yeah.
the right way and all of that, but I will not, look at
I don't
a
want to get
date or
people
anything
to
like
look for a
that.
date.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
There would be
Right.
a public comment period for a proposed ordinance anyhow. So I mean, what's the difference?
Yeah, I just know there were a lot of people. I think if we can contain it to that outside of the meeting, I think that would be good.
All right, snow emergency route ordinance, chief.
I know that borough manager put something forth through, I believe it was infrastructure, about some snow ordinance things. And we must have been thinking about the snow at the same time because of all the snow that we had this winter. So what I have here basically echoes what I believe that the borough manager has already requested through infrastructure. But I also did speak about an actual the snow emergency ordinance that the borough does have. And I think if you go to the next, down a little bit at the end there, the current ordinance that the borough has, I believe, came from when the former Wyomissing Hillsborough and Wyomissing merged in 2002. Because that's all Wyomissing Hills, but that is the entire snow emergency route ordinance as it is placed. So it doesn't tell us anything about what you can do, what you can't do, how we're going to notify, all that kind of stuff. So I don't believe that there's nothing, we don't have any signs that even make it enforceable at all. So my thought is that if we are going to maintain a snow emergency ordinance, it should actually be an ordinance that is something that gives us the authority to do things with. Because right now, if that's what it is, that gives us no authority to do anything. So I would suggest that we then ask the solicitor to come up with an ordinance that's a proper snow emergency ordinance. I have also discussed with Jim Babb some other areas, since we're doing it, as to where he believes maybe we should have roads designated as snow emergency. And what he has stated is Park Road South between Penn Avenue and Spruce Street. That's a main artery for ambulances to get to the hospital. Woodland Road from State Hill Road to Overhill, which is right there already. Penn Avenue from 8th Street to Clayton, so basically all of Penn. Reading Avenue from Penn to Hill, so that one block there. Hill Avenue from Park Road to Reading Avenue. And then the Lake Forest, Wyoming, and Evidence from Park Side Drive North up to Penn. So I believe that it gets tight for the trucks to get through there, and they're trying to keep it open. I know a lot of buses are making their routes through there. And then keeping what we already have from the former. Because a lot of those are very narrow, they're two-way, and with the hills, especially like with Hawthorne and Upland, it makes it more difficult. So that's why he's saying just keep those as it is. So those are the areas I think if the borough wishes to actually have this type of ordinance, that those are the areas that we should have as designated.
Sign all these.
And it would have to be signed.
What if that's budgeted?
So
Are those signs required to be unique, or can they be added to existing signs?
Be added to existing signs.
Yeah, I think one read it has to be at either end of, I read in one of the ordinances, at either end of
yeah.
the thing, and then if it's more than X number, more than a quarter mile or something, you need to add one sort of in the middle if it's a really long road.
Yeah, so Penn Avenue would probably be 3 signs, I would bet. I'm not sure what it is from 8 to Clayton.
I mean, I think the other piece to that is we could pull specific addresses for impacted residents to send them a letter. I mean, hopefully at this time of the year, we're not going to get any more snow, that this would give us some time.
Yeah. And I mean, quite honestly,
So we do an ordinance and adopt it, that's
well, yeah,
60 days
we're
right
not
there,
going
too.
to have a winter anymore, but I mean,
Your optimism.
our winters, this winter I think was unique. We don't get these winters very often, so I don't know. How often we would have to have a declaration made that there's a snow emergency, and then that's in effect too, so.
That's why they call them weather averages. We're long overdue.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be a little while again until we have one. So, I mean, like I said, this is a suggestion. I think if the way it sits right now, I mean, that
Yeah.
either we have to improve it or we get rid of it because we can't do anything with it as it is right now.
Makes sense to me to improve it. What's everybody else's thoughts?
I agree.
Steve?
If the police chief, the fire chief, fire people think it's important, then yeah.
All right. Do you need any more guidance?
No, I mean,
For
we're
a
happy to work,
proper ordinance?
no,
Okay.
we're happy to work with the chief and draft something for your review.
We'll come back to the fire, please. In a month. So,
Do you have any of the samples that
They went out with the agenda, yeah.
I had given some samples that I had found just that you can look at.
do you have a preference?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a preference?
I think we're gonna need to make sure we have it so that how it's put out, how it's declared, how it's put out to the residents, both at the beginning and the end, what they can and cannot do. It's basically gonna be parking. I don't know that we need the snow tire ordinance. Guys are not gonna be looking at cars and seeing if there's actual snow tires on a car, that type of thing. And parking is going to be a big thing. That's going to help Jim and his people keep the roads open so that, we can have movement through these, I don't want to call them all major arteries because I wouldn't say the Hills is a major artery, but those are roads, like I said, that are very narrow, hills, and with buses being on them, I think it's trying to keep them open for that.
And a possible fine for ticketing?
Yes, we're going to need that too.
Yeah.
Some towing and all that type of thing.
And what triggers the whole thing? I mean, if we,
What
do
triggers
we
it
need a
is
mayor's proclamation or something?
same that we've
What we
done.
did the last
we
two
did-
storms.
If there's a declaration that's put out for a snow emergency, then it would be in effect. And that's why I think we need to make sure how we're telling the public how that's going to happen, whether it be code red it, we can put a contact Y102 and WEEU, we put it on our websites, that type of thing.
Are there any handicap parking issues on any of those streets?
I think there's at least
Penn
one.
Avenue for sure.
Yeah.
Penn Avenue.
I meant more in front of someone's house.
Well, Penn Avenue, those row houses
That's
beyond the fire department. Chief, did Jim explain why he wanted no parking on streets like Lake and Forest as opposed to parking only on one side of the street? Because the people in Cleveland, the reason we can clear off Cleveland is because that's where we go. So if you're going to prohibit any parking on Lake Forest, then that's just,
I think to him, he was telling me because of the width of the road and getting, when cars are all parked on there, it makes it hard for them to.
well, I understand not wanting parking on both sides of the street. But do you know whether he considered allowing parking on one side, just not both?
I don't know. That'd have to be a Jim question.
Because the more you restrict parking, then you're not going to be able to. So when you work with Pam, could you ask Jim?
Yeah.
Would you mind?
Oh.
Thank you. All right.
There is, 1 second, there is apparently though, and I don't know if this is true solicitor or not, apparently there's a difference between the emergency snow,
The two that we did.
yep, as opposed to the declaration of disaster kind of thing. West Reading has both, or did both.
We did for the first storm too.
Right, it said, emergency, I forget what the title of it was exactly, that long, but snow emergency for parking as opposed to declaring a
State of
disaster.
emergency.
So I just, I don't know if that makes a,
Confusing.
I don't know if that makes a difference in what you're writing up.
FEMA versus us just being able to do what we need to do.
And maybe it doesn't matter, but I just,
So in what situation would you do one but not both?
So, good question.
I think the difference would be just the parking versus
Do we think
if
it's
it's
gonna
really
be
bad and there's
that
gonna be
there's
extra
FEMA
costs
money
involved with like,
reimbursement?
right, renting more, say, heavy-duty equipment or something that you might have to be, that you wouldn't have to go out and bid for, that you could just say, call up John Jones and his, front-end loaders and graders and bring them in. As opposed to saying normally you would have to bid them because, I don't know, you'd be charging more than, 10,000 or whatever it is. So just, that's the difference the way I understand it, but I'm not.
The lower level snow emergency, can you state that after the fact? Like, can you say, oh crap, we got a foot of snow last night, like, snow emergency, you gotta move your cars? Or does it
No, I
all
think
have to be done
normally
prior
those,
to the arrival?
normally those have been put out, like, I'm gonna say ahead of time.
Right.
They hear that the big one's coming. Or one that Jim wants to say, holy God, I want more room tomorrow. Then they do it ahead of time. The declaration could be made a little bit after if we saw things were in more financial need of something, different than just parking. Does that answer your question?
Does anyone want to discuss anything further on snow emergency routes? All right, noise.
Okay, I'd say about the last third of last year, we got a few noise complaints for different things, vehicles to parties, that type of thing. And we have a noise ordinance with the borough. I said at that point I don't remember what meeting it was, but I was kind of waiting till the new council came in, and so there wouldn't be with the outgoing solicitor with everything that they were doing, switching things over to come up with a new ordinance for us. So basically, what I believe that we need to do is we need to have some type of ordinance, if we're going to have a noise ordinance, that takes up the subjective nature out of it. In other words, I may think something is really noisy when you may think it's no big deal. It gives us it makes it easier on our guys if they're getting calls, to be able to say this is an actual violation or not. It gives us something that we're going to be able to state in court if we need to, as to it's a violation because it met this threshold. So I think it's something that we need to consider. Like I said, we have a noise ordinance. It's kind of hidden. It's kind of weird where it's at in the borough ordinances, but it's just, it's very vague as to how it reads. So I think we need to have something, like I said, that's just making it a little bit more easier. And I'm not reading my document because you all read it, but I mean, I think we need to make sure we have some exceptions in there, things like that.
Yeah.
Just to, there's going to be middle of the night, we're going to have the snow and the trucks are going to be out. It's going to be, they're going to be plowing and, things like that. Construction may need to be getting done, whatever. But I think it just has to be a little bit more thought out, and it's easier for us to enforce. It takes the subjectivity out of it, and it's a little more clear as to what a violation is and isn't.
How do you know how loud something is, though?
We can buy decibel meters. I made sure I had enough in my materials and supplies budget. They're a couple $100. They're very easy. I mean, you literally turn them on, and it gives you the reading. It would be my intent to get something like that.
Most of the ordinances that you sent through that I read talked more about noise levels based on like the property line versus like distances kind of versus decibels.
I mean,
There was only one that I saw that had the
I was
decibels.
trying to give
Range.
I'm trying to give you a range as to what you can look at. I'm not the one that's gonna write and vote on
Right.
the ordinance, but either way, it
You're the one
gives
getting
us,
called about the
right,
ordinance,
it gives
so.
us a way that we can say something.
Yeah,
If you go by distances, then we can say, I was 100 feet easily from that,
right.
That's 5 car lengths. That's easy to judge as an officer, how far away we have to be from something.
That's what a lot of the ordinances read was distances versus decibel levels, because decibel levels are so fluctuating.
Pam had a comment about the better ordinance.
The better ordinances tend to specify the decibels. Oftentimes you'll see them have alternatives. So either a decibel reading over a certain amount or across property lines, X feet away. There's case law in terms of their enforceability, so if it's something you guys want to move forward with, we can make sure.
So when a Harley's going down, 2 Harleys are driving down Penn Avenue, we're gonna arrest them.
Yeah, they'll be going back to.
Well, remember, he's got
Yeah.
durations
Right.
for that threshold too.
Yes, you can have
So-
durations and.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem, I mean, I'm not gonna say that the parties aren't, if there's a party that's too loud, that should be stopped, but, the complaints I hear from people are the intersection, I don't even know the name.
Museum.
Coming up South Park, coming up Wyomissing Boulevard, stopping where you turn left and you go up to
Parkside?
Woodward's house, whatever that intersection is,
And Stevie?
Oh,
Monroe.
Monroe.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, the cars sit there and rev and rev and rev and then take off. And,
All the time, too.
yeah, I mean, that's where I hear the complaints is somewhere where they're coming to a stop and then gunning it to get moving again.
Yeah, can't, that's,
So it's not gonna change anything. I mean, it might kill a party too. But I'm not saying I'm against it, I'm just saying,
But you're saying we have one already and it's just very vague,
Yes.
vaguely worded? Okay, so if we have one that's vague, I think it does make sense then to provide as much clarity and in a way that's actually,
I think, right?
I'm not aware we've.
yeah, I never have been able
I
to.
didn't think we had one.
Zoning talks about noise, but it's very general. And we've
Right, that's what I
never-
mean.
Yeah, we've never enforced under it.
Because when we had the issue with the shots fired in the hills with the person that had the party, he ended up getting cited for not getting a permit for that because he advertised, he had money. And one of the things that it states in that, when you read through that ordinance, that you need a permit if you're gonna have, how's it worded? It has to do with noise, it has to do with like a DJ or, I forget how it's worded.
Amplified sound.
Amplified sound, thank you. And then you can go into another section and it talks about the amplified sound kind of thing. So it's kind of like going back and forth.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was very specific to actually the A field and
I don't know.
things.
But
have-
like I said, we don't have, it's not clear, it's.
Yeah.
And yet they still turn on the sound so you can hear McDonald's.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things, if and when we revise what we have to be able to achieve enforceable unintended consequences. So, as you're potentially reading a draft, try and think through all of the possible outcome scenarios where that's not what we wanted it to apply to, but based off of the way that it's worded, it would
Here's what
apply.
it would.
Because we've been down that road before too.
So if I hear a block party in July that's like 3 blocks over and I hear them playing whatever, I've been normally thinking, hey, they're having a good time over there. But
They
somebody,
might already have a permit from
Yeah,
us
they have a
if
permit.
they have.
it's okay to do that?
Block parties.
So that cancels it out for that
They
or
have a
what?
permit, sure.
I mean, the extra band or
Yeah, that's
amplification or
That's-
whatever.
in there.
Okay, I just-
Block parties.
just wondering.
Got it.
Ordinance.
On the other hand, I still think there should be a time limit. I don't think somebody ought to
Oh,
be, for even if you have a block party.
Block
I
parties are
think you ought
supposed to
to
be done
able
by
to-
10, that's already in there too.
Well, that's,
fine.
but you shouldn't,
Just
to
curious.
me, live next to somebody who has a party. there's no place in our house we can stay as long as that party is going because of the noise. So from before 10 in the morning until 4 or 5, we need to leave the house. And I'm sure there are a lot of people who think that maybe 3, 4, 5 hours would be sufficient time
3, 4, 5 hours for what? Block party?
to have the noise so loud. You can have a party, you can do a lot of things without having the noise level to that extent. That there's no place in the next door neighbor's house with a nice yard in between where you cannot hear that.
So how would this affect any of the sporting events at the football field, let alone football games, but soccer or lacrosse and anything else that's playing on there?
And that's where I think you're gonna need to carve out an exception for that.
Kids.
That's why I'm talking about not having exceptions and things like that.
Well, on the other hand, does the PA system need to be cranked up to the point where literally I could hear it at McDonald's?
I listen to
I
every
think-
football game from Wilson High School.
Yeah,
I don't think it does.
All of the hills.
So I don't-
Well, I hear like they're marching
Their marching
band,
band,
practicing.
practicing,
Yeah.
and
Friday Night Lights. It's the way
But I
it is.
think like the bands in the park and the movies in the park.
It's not just
they're
football,
really in
it's
Oh, I know.
issues.
lacrosse and the national anthem and
Yeah.
All right, so what we have is, you all agree is vague.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a time that something was going on and you had your hands tied because we didn't have an ordinance that covered it? I mean, are we again fixing things that aren't broken? I mean, can we react to things that are out of hand already, or do we need more?
I think that a big one that are loud cars, whether it be like we talk about the Harleys and things like that, or music coming from them, they may be at this instant loud here. And if we talk about time thresholds, as they're driving through the borough, they're going to meet that. And we can deal, we don't have to just say we get it here. We get the call and they're here, we find them up here and we still hear that noise. That gives us some teeth to stop them and deal with it. I'm not saying people are going to get cited every time for things. They may be told to turn it off, turn it down. And they may just, we may find something else out of that. They may be driving without a license or without, expired registrations. Or maybe they get cited for that type of thing and not the noise.
Clarifying.
then why not clarify this just to,
Clarifying the ordinance also puts us in a place where there is no bias. Where if we're just saying, reasonable noise and a reasonable time and it's super vague, there is the opportunity for residents to say, you cited this, you cited me, but not this person. Is it because of the color of the skin? Is it because of the neighborhood I live in? If you have an ordinance with clear guidelines, it can be read and stated. Same thing with like shoveling the snow. You've got neighbors out there complaining that I have to shovel this snow and this person doesn't have to shovel that snow and it's all just reasonable time. We don't have specific guidelines on how quickly the snow has to be shoveled. So by clarifying the ordinance, it protects us as a borough. Whether it provides more citations or not isn't really the point.
John,
about clarity for
these complaints,
residents.
vehicles that are moving through the borough? If that's
Yes.
the number one complaint, then why don't we just?
I would say
Just limit it to
the
that.
vehicles are number one. Number two is going to be parties, and I'm going to say that's an A and a B because there are some that are borough related, which we could possibly do something about, but there are a large number as well that the noise is originating outside the borough that this ordinance isn't going to give me any teeth to do anything with anyway. But I would say vehicles are our number one complaint for noise.
Why don't we try to target that for now?
So you want to rewrite an ordinance just for
No,
vehicles?
just
And rewrite-
make an amendment to this ordinance about vehicles going through the town.
Personally, I wouldn't do it for that problem.
If we
That's
put it,
that's what the main majority of the problem is.
By the time how many times in the police report are people reporting dangerous driving, and by the time we catch up with them, they're out of the borough?
if we ever see it.
That's right. So
I
do we
think-
really think we're going to catch these folks any more successfully than the speeders or the weavers or?
I mean, the only thing as it stands now, disorderly conduct. There's the catch-all noise, making unreasonable noise, things like that. That to me is, the way that's written is a subjective type of the way that's written. So if an officer hears a car going by that's revving, or if it's got the music blasting, then it gets a little dicey as do we stop that car? But if we could say, I hear that and I'm 5-10 cars away, that gives us a reason to stop it. We may not catch the ones that are, that we're getting called about because they may be gone. But it gives us a little more teeth as if we're seeing it ourselves and being able to articulate we are that, or it was this decibel, or whatever we come up with, that it gives us a more solid grounds, I would say, to stop them. It gives us that reasonable suspicion or probable cause to make that traffic stop. So
With that,
Well, and in an unrelated, like if somebody calls about a neighbor or something along those lines, it would give you the clarity and the parameters to say it is too loud or it's not too loud. And we went, and here's the result of that, and would then be coupled with a time that we would say, even if it is this loud, at this time, it needs to be stopped, or would that time frame not apply if it's underneath the, like if the music falls below the decibels, is it
It's
still?
not a noise ordinance.
Then
But
not a
it's still,
violation.
so
it's not
it
a
could
violation.
continue past whatever the quiet hours would
Yeah.
be?
It depends on what the
Unless you
violations are.
if somebody does a block party,
Mhm.
okay, and they apply for that permit, the permit, it's in the ordinance for that has to be done by 10
By
p.m.
10.
And that, they are told that by me when I,
Mhm.
because when I approve that, that all comes through me, I approve it, I have an email that I kind of just, I copy and paste most of it is, this is what you can and can't, please remember, because they sign off on everything, on what they can and can't do, that type of thing. So they know that it has to be done by 10 p.m.
Okay. Or would like quiet hours be potentially coupled with a lower decibel level? So if your music is a certain level here, then at 10 o'clock it needs to drop down to this level here? Or no, is that not?
Ordinance anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, you said
I don't know.
you've got a lot of good
I-
ordinances that you read through, and it gives you all the different parameters, I think.
I've
Either get-
enforced them, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
so
seen
either
them.
get rid of the ordinance altogether, or put all the parameters in that are gonna work, and it gives you guidelines, and
But this doesn't
It is what
require
it is.
you to like, if you're driving by somewhere and you hear something, you don't have to like listen, right? You would only be responding. Does that make sense? Like, is it adding to the workload of the officers? It's not something they would need to like actively be trying to monitor.
I mean, I think it's going to be, there's some officers that will probably jump on that, but maybe
Some
some that won't, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
if I'm being honest,
No, that's fine. That's,
okay, I mean,
I mean, I think
it's gonna depend on how loud things are, I think sometimes, what the problem, what time of night,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Mhm.
think that may go into consideration if an officer's gonna deal with it without being called.
or if you hear a train blowing its horn in the middle of the night.
Every night.
I like having some
That's a good
discretion.
point.
If
Every
somebody's
night.
having a party and it's cranked up, they already know it.
Probably heard-
So if an officer comes and knocks on the door and says, hey, you're too
Right.
loud,
You can
they're gonna
probably
knock
hear
it
them
down.
anyplace.
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
I don't know that we can fix everything with another regulation, as has been noted here by several people, and I'll add myself to
That's
it.
a good point.
It's the cars
You mentioned it.
that tend to be the things that create the most ruckus. Where I live, near where the chief lives, there's sound walls along 222. And people think it's neat to crank it up going through those sound walls and the noise bounces off and I hear it like it's outside my bedroom window. The Jake brake on the tractor trailer coming down that bit of a grade, you can hear it. That's what happens. But it's out there on 222, which we're not going to be able to do a damn thing about. So I think that we have enough now that the officers have discretion, that if it's something that's just egregious, they go knock on the door. Otherwise, I think we're kidding ourselves that we're going to fix everything with another regulation.
We
We're
missed,
talking
Stephen,
about establishing standards.
But now if you have the standard, now you get yourself into that box where you didn't enforce it. This
If
guy,
that's the
but you
case, I
didn't
would
this
ask to remove the noise ordinance altogether, since there's no guidelines in it.
If there's no guidelines, there's no.
Keep it-
We're not
keep in
arresting
mind-
anybody. They can say there's a noise ordinance. We're going to the police, go to the door and say, turn it the hell down.
Right.
That's what we, that's what we.
And the reality is,
Recommended it.
the reality is 99 times out of 100, they'll turn it down.
Right.
It's the cars going by. Tom and I were just talking about the Norfolk Southern train that goes by that honks the horn at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. We're going to stop that.
Probably not going to
Do you
meet
do
the
you feel that
length.
having an ordinance with more clarity would be a hindrance, or do you think it could be utilized as a tool that would support you?
Well,
I don't wanna put you on the spot, I'm just wondering.
no,
what your thoughts
he
are.
recommended it, so.
Right,
Right,
so- right.
I brought this because, like I said, we got a lot of complaints, and there were some questions by former members of
Yeah.
council, and when you look at what we have, it's not great. So
Yeah.
it's one of those deals where if we want to have something, then if you want to have a noise ordinance, it should be a little clearer as to what we can and can't do.
Right.
What is a violation? What you want to make in that ordinance, that's up to you
That's-
guys, really.
yeah.
I mean, if we get a noise violation, I can tell you, we get calls. 99.9% of the time, we're going to try to just tell them, turn it down.
Yeah.
We're not looking to cite people. I mean, you don't have to arrest your way out of problems kind of thing. You know, we can try to deal with it other ways. Like has been said here, people generally turn it down. But what I would like, because there was such a concern before about this, that this is, again, it's one of those things where what we have, if we want to have something, what we have isn't what we should have, right? So if you want to have it, we should have it better. We're going to try to work with these 9 times out of 10, like I said, is we're going to just try to get these people to comply and turn it down, be quiet, you know. But cars are the biggest issue when I say the noise, what we get complaints about. So that's the number one.
So we can still put guidelines in place that are not necessarily very, very strict and.
John, if you buy one of those doohickeys, the noise thing,
Decibel meter?
that one, and you get a phone call, and you walk up, you take a reading of what it is before you go knock on the door. You go knock on the door, they say they turned it down, 1 billionth of a notch, and you get a phone call, you go back a half hour later. If we put some kind of ordinance, like if we just add that to what we got, would that help with the party thing?
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the party.
Go to jail.
I can tell you, I can think of one time that happened this past holiday season where we had calls about a party, and it wasn't kids, it was adults. I know the people, actually.
Was it me?
No. We got calls, and we went and asked them to turn it down, and they said they would. And then like 20 minutes later, we got called back again, and they hadn't turned it down. And they had to be told, look, you're going to turn this down or you're going to get cited. It was one of those deals. And then I think the party started breaking up anyway. It was an adult holiday party. And I know the people. I laughed.
Were you invited?
No, I wasn't. But that is very rare. That's the one time I can remember that happening where people didn't turn it down. We get a lot of it over in our apartments, complexes. People have TVs or stereos up loud, you know, and people are living right on top of each other. We can hear things, sometimes we can't, sometimes we can. We try to make contact, tell them about the complaint, turn it down, and they do. That's how it mostly happens. The car thing, you know, usually when we get those calls, we go look and they're gone. Having something that would relate to this with the car stuff, that would help us. When we see it, hear it, we can take proactive action.
It's not gonna help when someone calls it in, it's gonna help when you actually witness it.
Correct.
So let's amend it a little bit to help them with that part.
Seems to me we're talking about three different options. Car problem only, noisy neighbor only, I'm sorry, both or nothing. So you want just the car problem solved?
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Mayor?
I want the officers to continue to have discretion to just be common sense.
So you want nothing though?
Right.
Kristen?
I would support.
I'm going to interrupt. I wouldn't object to adding this decibel meter thing, that if we have an egregious thing, now you have something saying, look, it's here, knock it off.
If you don't do it, then you're good.
Then, you know, so I can live with that. But I don't want to overburden too many regulations that need to be precise.
Well, but if you add the decibel thing, you have to add exceptions. Because then you decibel some household and then you go over to the baseball game and they're you know, you can't
You
just
do it after 10 o'clock
put a decimal number.
or after 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, it can be an evening thing, a nighttime thing, 9 PM, 10 PM.
Even if it's a decibel thing, I'm telling you, our first course of action is going to be turn it down.
Yeah.
No matter
So why bother?
We don't want to,
All right.
I don't want to,
Because right now.
we don't need to overly arrest people or cite people.
No.
All right, then I don't want to.
Okay. Kristen?
I would support some sort of decibel, like an overarching guideline with a time frame at a certain period in the evening, that the expectation is this. And if, I don't know how it works with vehicles, if there needs to be something specific to that could be enforced outside of that time frame. I don't think that the goal is to not let people make any noise. I think it's to give the officers parameters that they can actually enforce, because we don't have that right now. It's very intentionally vague, and I don't think that that's beneficial.
Do we have any enforcement procedures if we need to get to that point?
It's been a little bit since I put these together, but I have the city of Reading in there, correct? I mean, they have something specific
See how that works.
to vehicles, I believe. You know, so, I mean, there is things you could break it out to like that. So if that's the motor vehicle prohibitions, you know, my glasses on to read. You know, so there's stuff like that that you can do for that.
I would either put guidelines in or remove the ordinance.
I wouldn't bother doing it just for cars. I think it's worthwhile to have the decibel feet restriction, and I don't think that the exception should be that big a deal to list. So,
Not to put a time frame on it.
Yeah, the time
You say
frame.
from 9 o'clock at night till 9 o'clock. But you're gonna have, I can tell you, around my house, you got people blowing leaves at 7:30 in the morning. It is what it is. I don't really care. But I can see if once you put an
Yeah, I mean,
ordinance in, now
most
you're gonna have people bitching about that.
Ordinances that I read were 10 or 11 PM until 7 AM.
You have landscaping contractors that start before 7 AM in the summer, though.
On weekends?
Depends, because if they had a lot of rain or something during the week and they're trying to catch up.
Well, then, I mean, then they're violating the guidelines, but if nobody calls them out on it,
It's not
Then,
something they're actively going to be.
you know, if
Now
the
that-
neighbor calls,
Now that we have a noise ordinance, we can call them out on it.
but we can, so the neighbor
But we have one
complains, calls
already.
them out. Now they have to prune the bushes for the next half hour until 7 a.m. instead of cutting the grass. I don't know.
I mean, Kristen, how that works now is if we would get a phone call, we don't have a noise ordinance. I mean, that's the response that they're getting. And I often
That's what I
point to the
thought.
fact that our haulers, like our trash haulers start at 5 a.m. sometimes. So they're
That's
making
gotta
noise
be
going
built
down the
into
alleys.
the Exception. I mean, I've read that in a lot of the ordinances.
I'm just saying, it's not gonna be a good look though if we are our own exception and Smitty's, our contracted landscaping company that does the malls in some other areas is starting before 7 a.m., but we're telling residents they can't.
Set it for 6 a.m. I don't know, or get rid of the ordinance altogether. I don't think a vague ordinance is helpful, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
It allows for bias and complaints.
But if we're not planning on
bias.
getting anybody in real trouble about it, and the police, you don't have an ordinance at all, now the police can't even say we have an ordinance.
But the police are saying we have an ordinance and the borough manager says we don't.
Well, there's an ordinance.
No, this is the city of Redding.
Well,
There's not.
we have some ordinance.
There's a reference in the zoning ordinance
Right.
to noise.
There we go. We got some kind of reference to an
The
ordinance.
police are enforcing the zoning ordinance, right?
Could we have something drafted to revisit? Something not especially.
I would suggest tabling this. And, looking at the samples the chief provided and see whether there's something that we think would be an improvement. And for those of you who don't, you have less homework. Okay, I'm making a motion to table.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
And my last item is need a motion to either table, approve, or deny the application for the Armed Forces Day Parade. If you remember, Diane Price was in, I guess, last council meeting. She handed it to me at that point, so I said I would make it part of the next Fire and Police Committee.
Got everything you
I move that we approve.
Got everything you need?
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's all I have.
Thank you, chief.
You didn't actually make a motion for the snow emergency route ordinance. It's on the agenda, but no motion was made to either table, approve, or deny.
I thought we did, but okay. Well, I'll make a motion that council authorize the drafting of snow emergency route ordinance.
I'll second it.
You make a motion to approve or to table?
No, ask council to authorize the next step. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Fire department.
I apologize, I was not able to get an updated, complete February report yet, in Adam's absence. The new captains are quickly getting a deep dive into first due and how to pull reports. I will have that for next week's council meeting. The report that was pulled for me is through the beginning of last week. At that point, month-to-date responses were 133, yearly responses 315. Mutual aid was given 80 times. Mutual aid was received 26 times. Average personnel per incident is 4.15 with an average response time of 1 minute and 11 seconds. 99 hours of training were completed, again, as of the beginning of last week. For the month of February, there were 16 overlapping calls. Busiest day of the week was Monday, 0 fire loss for the month, and the busiest time of the day was 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. For inspections, there were 3 fire and life safety, 0 Knox box, and 6 corrective action, 3 3 pre-plans, that's a little tricky to say, were created and or updated. For the incident type, you can see once again, no emergency is the biggest percentage, but there are multiple things that fall into that category. Second biggest percentage was hazardous, which you can see on the breakdown on the next screen. It breaks it down: motor vehicle collision, gas leak was the highest out of those hazardous conditions, and then carbon monoxide and just general odor. There is, just on pie chart format, your mutual aid responses. You can see responses by shift. C and B platoons were not too different by one call. You can also see your apparatus, specific response time, and total number of responses, in addition to responses within 90 seconds. And then again, just your responses by day of week. Does anybody have any questions on the report?
The commercial inspections, in the absence of a chief, are we falling behind in getting them done, or are we pretty much up to speed?
So now resigned Captain Sites, myself and Glenn Kraft had met about a month ago to come up with a plan for here's what is needed for 26. I would say now, in the absence more of Captain Sites than a fire chief, your fire chief really shouldn't be doing fire inspections. They should be
Used to, so.
yes. So I would say it's actually more in the absence of Captain Sites than a fire chief, but
And let me rephrase my question. In the absence of Captain Sites, are we falling behind?
it's only, today's the first working day since his absence, so no, not yet. But that is something I plan to talk to Kraft about, is we kind of need to regroup once again as to here's what we thought was going to be accomplished, and now it's going to look different. Any other questions on the report? No?
Not on the report, but since you mentioned Captain Sites, at one point, some people asked whether there was going to be an exit interview. You said you knew what he would say. I think it would be helpful for you to share that in executive session before we choose the new chief.
Okay, I can tell you this. I'm happy to tell you right now if you want to go into executive session.
I mean, we've been going longer probably than people expected, so I don't.
Not probably.
But this isn't something that's going to take any amount of time, so it's.
I leave it to everybody else. Do we try to
It's gonna be
do an
quick,
hour?
go.
Okay, then we go off and shut the door.
Let's vote, yeah.
Update on the fire chief
think I-
position.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're coming out of executive session where we discussed a personnel matter regarding the fire department.
Update on the fire chief position, no real update since personnel next week, other than I am tentatively confirming round 1 interviews will happen March 30th. That's one of the only days the outside panel of chiefs is available. Specifically, additionally, you can bring fire and police in here that day. I'm going to set them up most likely in the library. I don't want to keep,
People can see,
I'm sorry.
where people can see.
I don't want to keep punting it. I mean, the alternative is we could do it at the fire station, but that's not ideal because I can't be in 2 places at once.
Do you want to do it?
30th.
I mean, you can use my training room downstairs if you want. You can close that off.
We could talk about that. There's one that's going to be virtual because he's an out-of-state candidate and not a close surrounding us out-of-state candidate that I said I would allow to do virtual for the first round. But we can figure that out.
I mean, you want to use, you can close it off. There's blinds so people can't see in.
And maybe we have a workaround. But I mean, again, going back to what I said at Personnel Council, you need to figure out sooner than later who's sitting on that round 2.
Round 2 is after March 30th.
Yes. I would prefer to keep things moving, though, to schedule it for that first full week of April. And then I'll likely be asking for, at the April Personnel Committee meeting, assuming things go well with round 2, I will likely be asking for a joint Personnel Council meeting to make a motion to hire and get that done. Because again, this person's going to probably have to give 4 weeks notice, if not more, his or herself. So that's just kind of kicking the can as to how soon they can start.
Is creating, they're determining who's gonna be in interview, is that something that needs to be done like in a meeting with a motion, or is that just something we decide?
In terms of
in-
hiring?
As far as who would be sitting in to interview,
Oh, I
like
think
on
we
the
just
interview
decide that
committee, we just
internally.
decide that and tell you, okay.
Anything else about the fire department? And we do not need a third executive session.
Correct.
And there being no public, although public comment, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.